Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Gadigal people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Amanda Bauer. It's Monday, April 3. In Squiz Kids Today, Grand Prix fever in Melbourne, the world's deepest fish, arresting an alligator, and a most unfair school sports race. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
Here's the short version of what happened in the Formula One Australian Grand Prix held in Melbourne yesterday. The world champion, Max Verstappen, started first, and he finished first. And if I left it there, you'd be forgiven for thinking it was a boring race. But from the very first lap of this 300-kilometre car race, there was drama and controversy. In all, 3 race-stopping red flag crashes occurred, meaning that organisers had to stop the race while wheels, bits of metal and other car debris was cleaned off the track. Don't worry, no one was hurt. The second red flag crash came extremely late in the race, so there was supposed to be a 2-lap sprint to the finish. But after less than 1 lap of that sprint, 5 cars crashed out and another red flag went up. The record-breaking crowd went wild, chanting "one more lap" as organisers debated what to do. Eventually, the remaining cars did that final lap, which delivered Verstappen and his Red Bull team their first Australian Grand Prix victory. It also resulted in Oscar Piastri, the 21-year-old McLaren driver from Melbourne, winning his first ever World Championship points, the first time he raced his Formula One car in front of a home crowd. If you're unfamiliar with this sport, the drivers who finish from 1st down to 10th all win a different number of points at each Grand Prix held over the course of the year. The person with the most points at the end of the season becomes the world champion. Oscar came in 8th yesterday in the McLaren. I've put an explainer to what Formula One racing is all about in your episode notes, as well as some video links to those crashes. I repeat, no one was hurt.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Jamaica, where I am confident the world's most unfair school sports race has just been run. We're talking about the 100 metres for mums at a local school on the Caribbean island, which became international news when Zyon's mum decided to have a go. Zyon is 6 and his mum is Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. Yes, that Ms. Fraser-Price. 10-time world champion in the 100 metres, 200 metres and relays, 3-time Olympic gold medalist, the 3rd fastest woman in history. I'll put a link in your episode notes. I think you know what happened.
Animal Kingdom.
Okay, for this next news item, I want you to picture 83 of those 100-metre running tracks that Zyon's mum dominated on. As in 83 times 100 metres, which equals 8,300 metres or 8.3 kilometres. You with me? Okay, now imagine diving that deep down into the ocean. And just for good luck, going an extra 36 metres. It's down here, 8,336 metres deep in waters south of Japan, that Australian scientists have filmed a record-breaking snailfish, the deepest swimming fish ever caught on camera. The previous record holder was 158 metres shallower. If you watch the video in your episode notes, you'll see a graceful, almost luminous creature wafting past a camera that was lowered from the side of a research boat. But scroll down a bit on that link to the photos of snailfish caught a few hundred metres higher on the same expedition, and you'll see how these creatures have evolved to cope with the extreme pressure of the deep sea. They look basically like jelly.
Believe it or not.
If you were driving along at night and saw 3 police cars blocking the road, lights flashing and a crowd of people gathered, what would you think had happened? A car crash? A bank robbery? How about a big old alligator disturbing the peace? Officers in Tampa Bay, Florida, were called out to solve the problem of a 2.7-metre alligator wandering down a city street. Their body cam footage, which of course I have put in your episode notes, shows how they fashion a lasso out of yellow rope, get it around the gator's mouth, and then literally jump on its back to hold the reptile down. What a shame it wasn't a crocodile. Then I could make an excellent dad joke about the police arresting a crocodile. Oh, whoops, I just did.
Time for the Squiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What kind of fish was found at a record-breaking depth of 8,336 metres? That's right, a snailfish. Question number 2. From which Caribbean nation is Shelley Ann Fraser Price, aka Zyon's mum? That's right, Jamaica, a running powerhouse. And question number 3. How did the Tampa police close the mouth of an alligator found wandering on their city's streets? That's right, with a lasso made out of rope, although of course they called it a lasso.
Shout outs.
It's April 3, and 50 years ago today, in 1973, the very first handheld mobile phone call was made by a Motorola executive walking along 6th Avenue in New York. Guess who he called? A rival company that was also trying to build a mobile phone. Ouch! I'll put a photo in your episode notes. You will not believe the size of the thing. It's also a very special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Caroline from Kippa Ring, Chris from Campbelltown, Jasper from Adelaide, Elizabeth from Wallara, Ayla from Cannon Hill, Noah from Bathurst, Audrey from Canberra, Amelia from Barden, Jack from North Manly, Bayer from Brisbane, and Laurie from Shropshire, United Kingdom. We're also sending belated birthday wishes out to Sophia from Sydney, Kyle from Narellan, Mitchell from York Peninsula, Christina from Glenfield, and Lilla and Edie from Ballina. And let's not forget our Squiz Kids classrooms. A very happy Monday and the last week of term to Class 4B and Ms. B at St Aidan's Anglican Girls' School in Corinda, Class 4G and Mr Griffin at Ellamore Vale Public School in Newcastle, Class SP2 and Mrs Graham at St Pius X Parish School in Warrnambool, Class 5-6 Darebin and Ms Eliza at Throsby School, and Classes S1B and S3O with Mrs Oliver and Mrs Blaine at Bulwarra Public School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you want a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. And that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.